Alright, everybody. This is it. Welcome to the, I guess, Friendship is Dragon's 4-year anniversary stream. And yes, I've got some background music from the show queued up, because just me talking, just a bunch of people talking, is probably gonna be kind of boring audio to listen to. So, yeah. Welcome, everybody. On July 28th, 2011 is when Friendship is Dragons launched. So, yeah. And now it's July 28th, 2015. So yeah, we've been at this for pretty much 4 years straight. Not missing a whole lot of days, updating Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. Only 4 years. What was happening with Pony Fandom at that time? That was during the first hiatus between seasons 1 and 2. One of my pages launched on the day that the season 2 premiered. So that was exciting. Let's see, how much time do I have on this playlist? I hope it's enough. Anyway. So, yeah, this is gonna be kind of interesting. Basically, the purpose of this stream is to kind of, just kind of as the writer, go back, look through a bunch of the old comics and provide commentary on whatever you guys want to talk about. Because there's 4 years of this stuff, 626 pages as of this morning. And yeah, if you, and I'm taking callers right now, just anyone who wants to talk, because I'm not carrying this for over 2 hours by myself. So, if you guys want to join in, then by all means. Just send, I am NewbieSpud on Skype, you know, very, very tricky, that name. So, just send me a message, I'll cue you in, and we'll switch out every so often. What made me start this crazy ride? Sorry, the volume's a little interesting. Let's turn that down just a smidgen more. Alright. Let's see, so it was 2011. Gosh, I gotta think back for a bit. It was 2011. I just binged through season 1 as it was complete. And then that summer I was back home for my first year at college, and I was playing D&D with, you know, my friends back here in Portland. And then the time came in towards the end of that summer where I realized I was going to be going back, and I really wasn't going to have time to have any more D&D because this was Ichiban. The workload was going to be insane. So, somewhere along that particular thought process, that thought crossed over with the thought that I'd always wanted to kind of do a webcomic and try and make it a good one as sort of a bucket list sort of thing. For lack of a better term, it's just something I'd wanted to get done at least once in my life. And so that got the ball rolling. I thought, well, I can't draw, I cannot art, but I've definitely got software for grabbing screen caps. And then I just kind of, I did some research and then just kind of started getting into it. You know, I'd read some blog posts by Aaron Pallett. In fact, I'll just show you those now. That had provided the inspiration for explaining why the characters match up to certain classes. So it just kind of came together. It's basically how that goes. Anyway, I'm gonna start calling people up. Starting with you. Hello, you know that guy?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Oh wow. Should I how does this work?
Oh, you might want to mute the stream. Yeah, if you're joining in on the call, you're gonna want to mute the stream so you don't hear me doubled.
Yeah, I've never used Hitbox before. I don't know how to do that.
Basically, if you hover over the display window, at the bottom left there should be a volume control, just mute it.
Oh, got it. Good. I really hate the sound of my voice, so
A lot of people do, so.
I've heard that it's like you have echo chambers inside your head, and so
Yep, that's the basic principle. You know, it reverberates through pretty much everything in your head, so you sound deeper and frankly just better to yourself than when it's played back to you, because
yeah.
voice outside of your head doesn't sound as nice. So, yeah. Anything in particular you want to talk about?
Well, lately I've been watching a whole lot of Ultra Fast Pony.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've seen a little bit of it. I don't really follow it, but I recognize it as being a pretty interesting, well, kind of interesting, sort of abridged series type thing. The problem I have with it is that basically a lot of the jokes revolve around them being kind of jerks to each other, like just on a constant basis.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, like, people being, you know, jerks is, you know, easy way to drive a plot and a story, but and I don't really have a problem with it, like, if that's how they do that, because certainly, you know, I do that a few times myself, but I just don't really want to watch it.
I think it's well, like
Well, like, yeah, you're being jerks to each other, but, like, you also have just jokes as well.
well, as a parody series for adults about a children's program, they have to find some way to make the plot make sense, and I guess taking a cue from the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series, they just
Like everyone does.
right. They
Oh, I accidentally paused the background music.
they just make it. Wonder when someone will make Wait a sec. We've been talking about
Yeah, Chaos
MLP
Ferret.
abridged.
There's a bunch of abridged series and abridged likes and abridgments for My Little Pony. They're practically competing in a bare knuckle cage match.
One of the longer ones was Friendship is Witchcraft, although I think they stopped.
Yeah, they got stopped or taken down or something, but they're certainly still riding that wave as far as I can tell. I'm pretty sure there was a Friendship is Witchcraft panel or something when I was at Everfree Northwest this year, so. But, I don't know. The problem with having so many is that eventually you have to criticize an abridged series when it's just kind of meant to be silly and a little dumb and...
Well, but if there's so many, then you have the freedom to criticize them.
Yeah, but it's all... I don't know, I don't like... I don't know, they put the work into it. I don't know if I like just kind of like, oh, well, this is terrible and I don't like it and I don't watch it. I don't feel good doing that. Oh, anyway, we've been talking about a bridge series for a while now.
Too bad there aren't any Dungeons and Dragons abridged series.
Mostly because Dungeons and Dragons doesn't really have a good series. Or a good movie or anything that's not just the games.
What if someone took the video casts that Chris Perkins put out with the Penny Arcade guys and some other people, and then you could abridge those?
Abridge the... abridge the... abridge the celebrity D&D games? Huh.
Sure, why not?
That actually sounds kind of awesome, actually. Because you're basically just dubbing over the videos of them talking, and you could definitely make jokes out of that.
Well, don't they look at the figurines and roll dice and stuff?
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's also plenty of footage of them, so eventually you'd have to use them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean.
But yeah, anyone who isn't aware of Celebrity D&D, you know, Acquisitions Incorporated, Penny Arcade guys, you know, Will Wheaton, all that stuff, just go hunt that down because that is inspirational stuff, and it's Chris Perkins,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a hero of our time. So I'm just randomly browsing, kind of the site, going back to the very first pages, and it's kind of interesting to see what I was kind of experimenting with and dealing with layouts and comic life, and also the update schedule, actually. Yeah, originally I think I was just updating on Tuesdays and Fridays or something like that, and then once I got to 10, and then I said I made a double length page, I've got the hang of this, so now it's like, okay, now it's gonna be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and that's how it's been. Zarhan asks, did you work with a buffer of comics on this, or making them as you went along? I kind of go through phases on this comic.
Oh, you gotta have a buffer.
Yeah, it's better when I have a buffer, but there are times, especially during, you know, when things have gotten more difficult, that I kind of make them as I go along, zero buffer. It kind of changes, just kind of depends.
That's living dangerously.
It is living dangerously, but I don't know, I feel like I've made it kind of work, at least as far as I haven't had too many screw-ups. But those times are kind of sleepless, so there's danger in that as well.
And your uptime has been pretty good.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna... I'm gonna, bring in another guy and then answer some more questions from the chat.
Alright.
So let's add to the call. Add people. Ba-ba-ba-ba. You. So now this is a group call. Pick up. Okay, so can I ask, how did you decide on the various personalities for the characters? What are their personalities again? Oh, right. Twilight's the newbie who's read all the books. Pinkie Pie is kind of the loon.
And Twilight also is a pretty heavy min-maxer.
And kind of a natural min-maxer, yeah. Let's see, Applejack is super meta. Rarity is the role player. That one's pretty easy, but also the rogue. She's all about making an interesting character. Rainbow Dash Barbarian. She just hits stuff. Fluttershy is the druid. She's totally new and doesn't like fighting on principle. Part of that... Oh, Chrono's not picking up. Oh, wait.
That was better.
There we go. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. You and yourself?
Doing alright. It's been a pretty interesting day so far.
I can agree with that.
Let's see. But yeah, the various personalities for the characters kind of came from just, I came up with the classes first, and that was all based off of Aaron Pallett's blog posts. And then from there, that kind of informed the personalities a lot. Like, yeah, that's basically the end of that question. When did you flesh out the characters behind the ponies? As I went along. Yeah, it's... Yeah, character is something that doesn't really exist until you start writing to some extent. Or at least it does exist in your head, but you don't have perfect knowledge of it. What have been my proudest moments whilst working on the comic? Anything, a lot of the things that have made it to the crowning moments of funny page on TV Tropes. Anything that, a lot of the stuff that really stands out. Actually, if there's one comic that I am like super proud of and still trying to top these days, goodness. Where is it? No, that's...
Oh, the one with Rarity's Party and Applejack is dancing in the mud or stomping in the mud or something like that.
Yep, it's a satire of high-class nomenclature.
High Society Hipster, I think.
Yeah.
You saw it.
At what point did FID go from, hey, this is a neat hobby thing, to this is something I want to do for 4 years? Basically, I just never stopped. Actually, when it kind of became that on, like, page 3, where people were, it finally kind of, it was the first time it really kind of broke. And people were like, well, you better make it at least as far as Discord, and I'm like, well, okay. That was kind of the moment. Sorry, I'm talking a lot, trying to catch up on all these questions. Chrono, is there anything you want to talk about in particular?
What got you into the fandom?
What got me into the fandom? The vector I went through in was...
You mean the pony fandom, right?
Yeah, the pony fandom. Right, yep. Is that what you meant?
Yes.
Oh, there's 2 videos in particular. There's Ponycraft 2, and then there was Guile's theme set to Sonic Rain Boom. I mean, I was following a bunch of gaming sites, and that's they got posted there, and I was like, well, this pony thing doesn't suck, apparently, or it doesn't look like it does. I guess I'll see what the fuss is about. A very common story back then. This was, you know, as Season 1 was coming to a close. I binged through basically the month of May. So, yeah, that's basically how I got in. Yeah, I want to find frickin' the quote. Sweet and lead is 405 to 490.
Oh, do Control F for hipster.
High society, hipster. Artsy Fartsy, that's the one, okay. Yeah, and then I tell everybody this is a performance art piece satirizing the inherent hubris of upper-class nomenclature. I love this exchange way too much. I'm still trying to top this in my mind. How did you get into D&D tabletop? Last year of high school, my friend Dan, who is the one who ended up creating the ponytail system that I use for the podcast, he kind of got into D&D. He and his group of friends, which included me, we all just kind of got into D&D all at once together. Just started a campaign and never looked back.
What was your first campaign?
Oh goodness, the Evertide campaign. That was a long one. We had basically all summer.
Your first campaign was long. I think that most people's first campaigns are
one-shots.
Terrible.
I mean, the thing is, Dan Felder, who was my DM, was just really good at telling stories and improvising characters. Like, that was his specialty.
Wow.
So he just made it really awesome, even though we were still figuring out the system. So, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it, in the best possible way. A new experience for everyone, but still just having the best time possible. What's your most least favorite comic art? I'm not sure what you mean by that, MZ515ZM. I mean, like screen caps or like comic?
They don't think that you draw this, do they?
No, I hope not. That'd be a weird disillusionment for everyone. No, I am not actually an animator working working at DHX. No, that's not happening. Oh, ARC. Typoed.
Oh.
Comic ARC. Oh goodness. This question got asked in one of the comment threads on today's comic, and people were...
Which one of your children do you like the most?
Yeah, no, really. Which is... They're all just kind of interesting in their own ways. As far as... I mean, the kind of least favorite, even though I still like a bunch of the stuff I did in it, is Bridal Gossip. It just kind of dragged on too long. Gah... Lunar Eclipse is fun, Sweet and Elite was pretty fun, Feeling Pinky Keen was just wacky, Swarm of the Century was an adventure, Dragon Shy was Dragon Shy, and Friendship is Magic was Friendship is Magic. And then there's, you know, Running of the Leaves, this mess we've got for the ticket arc. I can't decide on the most favorite. Favorite guest comic? Do you know how many guest comics there are? Basically, anything made by Frosted Warlock is a good candidate. Digo.
Is that the one who put Lauren Faust as the DM?
Yeah. Made of Rage, yeah.
He's got a nice art style, I think.
Yeah. It's nice having an actual artist providing guest comment.
I thought those were screen caps too.
Be an interesting series to be grabbing caps from. Are we ever going to see the aborted arc finished? At this point, probably not. I mean, that was kind of a sore spot for both of us, and Frosted Warlock every time in pretty much every interaction I've had with him, he's always been pretty busy. So I don't know. I think my one problem with these comics is that my headcanon for the DM is just me. Whoops. I'm not here to ruin anyone's headcanon on who the DM is supposed to be. That's kind of meant to be kind of a cipher.
My headcanon is it's the same person as in Darts and Droids. He just runs this on the side.
That's pretty interesting.
I thought it was Discord.
That's also a nice one. What's your absolute favorite screen cap? How many screen caps have I made over the course of this comic? Thousands, probably. Take the average number of comics I've made, multiply that by 6.5. You'd probably have a good estimate of how many screen caps I've taken. I can't pick a favorite out of all that. Are there times you're unsure how a character's action in the comic is going to turn out and decide to actually roll against their stats to see what happens?
Do you actually roll for those, or...?
I do make some rolls sometimes, let's just say that. I've got my dice over here, and I pull out the d20, and I make some rolls sometimes. Din brings up a good point, though. From the sign debacle was pretty good. This screen cap's pretty good. Do I have a die for each one? No, I'm too poor. I only have one set of D&D dice. Is that how Twilight won in today's comic? Well, I'm going to explain that in Thursday's comic. Let's see. Yeah, I'm answering questions like nobody's business. Anything you guys want to bring up?
Well, totally put on the spot.
That's okay. Let's see. How far did you plan the current stuff ahead? Do you have master plans or just going easy along? I have a general plan in mind. Sometimes in the process of getting there, it changes slightly. That's basically the general idea.
When did you realize that this was such a fertile ground for gaming stories?
As far as like story time, how did that start?
Sure.
I mean, I kind of noticed after, like, in the first few pages, like, even without prompting, people would just be like, this reminds me of the time that I did this, and this, and this. And then, kind of very early on, I was kind of at a loss for what to put in the author's note, because the author's note is kind of, when I'm actually posting the comic to the site, it's actually, the author's note probably the hardest part for me. And so, one time I was having trouble coming up with something witty, yeah, like page 7 or so. I was like, do you have a story for something? Feel free to share it in the comments. And that turned out pretty well. And so story time just kind of slowly became a thing.
Have you ever utilized one of these stories within your own work?
Can't say that I have. I mean, they're all very interesting, but like, oh well, you're not getting in the queue, huh?
Sassy newbie spud is sassy.
Digo says he has 3 dice sets, and they were all when a player rolled something low and then gave him the die.
Do you find yourself accidentally leaving characters out when writing, creating a sort of DM crisis, even when you're not being a DM? Sometimes, yeah. It's hard to include everybody when you've got 6 people to write and you want to have some kind of focus.
The solution is to have everyone split up.
All the time.
You never split the party.
Don't you know, you never split the party.
But if you split up, you get 6 times the adventure.
And usually
one at a
death.
time.
Last time I split from my party, I was killed by
Are there
wolves.
any happy accidents with your writing process? Happy accidents? I don't know, whenever... It's like when I have to find a punchline and just kind of get there. But yeah. Sometimes on the way there I find something even funnier, and that, yeah, I'd say, yeah, it happens often enough, but I can't really point to a specific example.
If you were screen capping some other series, what would it be?
What would it be? Goodness, The problem with that is I haven't really thought about that because there are so many now. There are so many campaign comics now. They just never stop.
Spud exclamation mark. Just screen cap all of that.
Well, but it wouldn't have to be a campaign comic.
It doesn't have to be a campaign comic, just some kind of screen cap comic. I don't know, I might try something from a game, maybe, but... Heck if I know what specifically... The problem is it depends on, you know, where my muse takes me, what I'm inspired by next. Maybe, you know, I'm still obsessed with Mass Effect, so maybe.
Ooh, a Mass Effect screen cap comic.
Yep.
That reminds me of Concerned, the Half-Life 2 Gordon Froman comic. Did you read that?
Not really.
It does have a lot of him being a jerk to people.
Oh.
Have there been any regrets whilst you've been making this comic?
Regrets? A lot of sleepless nights. There have been a few. Some ways I've dealt with some out-of-control commenters have not always been the best. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I wish I'd gone with a lighter touch, sometimes I wish I'd been a bit more firm, you know. But that's just kind of a process of dealing with things. I wouldn't say that's a regret, just sort of a, well, that could have gone a little better. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? For some reason I have a feeling it's strawberry. Cookie dough flavored, usually. Let's see. How long have you guys been in the call? Like, almost half an hour, actually. We should probably actually move around a bit. I've been hanging on one page for quite a while. You guys have a particular favorite page or joke you want to point out?
No, I don't think so.
Alright. Technical question, how do you speech bubble? Using a very specific program that allows me to very specifically make speech bubbles on the fly and edit them accordingly. I might show that off later.
No, never split the party.
Oh man, yeah, the whole Nightmare Moon arc and how that ended.
I always imagined it would be something Twilight said more than Pinkie Pie.
Okay, so Masterweaver says hit the random comic button.
There is no random button on this site. Haha.
Oh,
Why would I do that? It's all story based.
but you have dice.
But I don't have dice that can cover 626 values.
A d6 and then 2d10.
Blah.
D percentile everything.
And then Chrono and I will provide voices for it.
We will?
Oh yeah, the latest one, 626, the title Experimental Success. Yeah, that's a Lilo and Stitch joke, very intentionally. So, the titles are allowed to be dumb. 261 says Neek. I could just bring up the dice room and rolls.org and just roll 1d626. Oh, 261 is the one where the DM's like, oh, Twilight, good. I was hearing reports of Parasprites, but it looks like we're perfectly safe. Casual and uneventful events go. Whoops, I did it again.
I know that look.
I know that, yep. Sure, we can roll dice. At some point, things switched over to from following the episode straight up to mixing and matching. That's kind of an interesting one. That's I mean, You know, I'll save that one for a bit later, because that's kind of a big topic. How long does it take to make one of these usually? 6-frame page, like an hour from start to finish, from script to finished page. It's about an hour. So let's see if rolling 1d626 actually works and rolls. Yeah, it does. So 416 is... Oh, it's it's party of one. The king wants you to root out the source of the undead scourge. For this he will reward you handsomely. I wish to receive a royal title, thus bringing him one step closer to reclaiming the lost Holly Sword barony. The king says he'll see what he can do. We could get some high-level gear as a reward, right? Actually, scratch that, give us the high-level gear right now. Well, no, but maybe? Will there be big monsters? The king says there have been rumors of a Dracolich. Say no more, I'm in. Phew. My dog-shaped robot buddy chases the vizier around the castle. What? Why? Because robot dogs hate viziers. Why? Goes to show how much I read these out loud. Alright. So, I think this call's been going on a little while. Do you mind, that guy, if I switch you out and bring in someone else who's in the queue?
Yeah, that's fine.
Alright. Thanks for joining.
I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. So... Ka-ching. And let's add... I guess Masterweaver wants in. Sure, sure, Masterweaver, come on in. How much?
Hello?
Hey.
Am I on?
Yeah, you're on.
Yep.
I wonder if there's going to be an echo or if the hitbox syncs automatically.
No, hey, there's gonna be an echo. Mute the stream. Mute the stream.
Oh, alright, hold on. Okay, there we go.
How much did it used to take when you were non-pro at it? Well, longer, I suppose, but the thing is, the important thing was I got the right software for the job, and it didn't take long to kind of get that process down, so it's kind of always been about an hour per page.
And is that an hour straight, or do you split it up into 10-minute chunks?
No, stop fiddling with the thing behind the mic. You keep doing that.
Sorry.
That metallic sound is very annoying.
There's honestly no metal involved.
Whatever it is, what is it? I want to know now.
It is plastic and string.
Stop playing with the plastic string thing. Forever
What?
when you're on Skype.
What is the plastic string thing?
It's this puzzly folding box, and that is nothing.
Okay. So yeah. Linton has made a buttload of alt comics. Yeah, that's true.
I think this is my favorite comic.
This 418,
Yep.
the perfect group. I attack the king. No, I talk to the king. No, I loot the king. No, I rap battle with the king. Okay.
Just Pinkie Pie's Insanity rap battle.
Have you ever rap battled with yourself? It's not pretty. And there was a dramatic sting on the MLP soundtrack I've been shuffling.
Oh yeah, there was background music.
Yep. I got a bunch of instrumentals and background tracks from the show. Very, very quiet, like 5% volume.
That's why I can't hear it now, because it's
you're-
Skype instead of stream, yeah.
Yep. Let's see, let's roll the dice again. 181. Oh, this is just the first of the guest comics following Dragon Shy. So this was Lintermiss's first, I think.
Oh yes, narration, woo! No, I'm kidding.
Oh, this was fun from Thousand Year Sunrise.
Yep.
The Celestia as the god-level cleric.
Yeah, god level, whatever that means. I'm sorry, are we all supposed to be talking, or?
No, just, if you've got something to say. I'm just trying to hold a conversation about, the comic and 4 years of doing it thus far.
Yeah, this did kind of inspire me to attempt my own campaign comic.
Oh, did it now?
Yeah, it was going to be a Sailor Moon thing. I got about 2 or 3 comics in, and then I abandoned the project.
Oh, man. Campaign comics in general. Let's talk about that for a bit. The TV tropes page for campaign comic. This list right here that I'm pulling up now.
Okay.
That I'm, so I can show it to the stream. This when
a long list.
It's a long list. The thing is, I helped make this page. Someone started it, and then I edited it until this text is mostly mine now. There's been some additions as well. But this list had about the a fraction of the entries in it, including mine. And it's at least tripled, I think, in the past 4 years.
Yep.
There's a Game of Thrones one. Please tell me everyone dies.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'd be guessing they'd be re-rolling characters like mad in that one.
Yeah. Actually, Lapis and Dan and some of those people had ideas for a Game of Thrones one where, yeah, it's just people re-rolling characters all the time.
Mm.
I'd cry rerolling characters that much.
More guest comics.
Game of Thrones sounds it would be perfect for a paranoia campaign, says Digo Dragon.
Yep.
But yeah, let's not go down the dark side of TV tropes. Let's not do that.
There is no dark side, but there's only consumption.
Or closing the tab and moving on.
There are no dark sides, only slightly less lighter sides.
Because who visits the Sugar Wiki, am I right? Anyway. Let's not say we did. Yeah, that's a perfect idea. Well, that was a tangent.
Tangents! I'm good.
At some point I tabled the question of when did it transfer from following episodes outright to doing the mix and match thing? And before I answer that, I want to point out that Luna Eclipsed was kind of a return to form in that regard, where it was just following the episodes straight up. But yeah, it was around Swarm of the Century, I think, when it suddenly became the Diamond Dogs episode, and then the Phoenix, and that was just kind of like the big kind of twist I wanted to throw at people because I thought that'd be entertaining. And it, a lot of the episodes don't really make good D&D campaigns for 6 players on their own.
To be fair, you're pulling mostly from the first season.
Yeah, mostly from the first season. I'm trying to stick to that as well.
It gets better D&D wise in the later seasons, like
Certainly, but it's post season 3 is not a thing I can use.
what? Really? Why not? Oh, right.
The obvious reason.
Yeah. You could, I don't know, have Twilight accidentally do something that makes her god level.
I'm actually a little afraid at this point that someday I'm going to use a screen cap from season 4 and I'm going to forget that Twilight has wings in it, and everyone's going to be like, what the hell? Because I've tried to be so careful about that.
Yeah, I remember this one.
Quick, let's just Photoshop these old vectors of old Twilight. No, actually, there is a comic. Where Rarity was not supposed to be there, but she was in there anyway.
Yeah, and you had.
And
to
I had to cover it up with speech bubble.
I remember that.
Oh, it's
I think it was
what Rarity
the
isn't that?
Phoenix arc.
yeah, it was the Phoenix arc. No, that's Bridal Gossip. Doop.
The Rarity is a lie.
Before Subversion. No, yes.
Well,
11.
like, yeah, there's this one fanfic I read where the ponies are playing D&D, and Rainbow Dash's character keeps dying. So, in frustration, she basically
There it
makes
is.
Trixie
There's the
as a
page.
character. And then Trixie keeps not dying, and eventually accidentally ascends to godhood. So, I'm just thinking maybe you could do something like that.
I'd rather it make sense and not
Yeah,
be
fair
not be
enough.
totally forced. That's the
She
thing.
can multi-class. She becomes a sorcerer.
Oh no. But yeah, this speech bubble from Celestia in the middle panel, that's to cover up Rarity and most of Applejack in the process.
Yeah. I think in the original it was in the upper left corner. There.
No, it wasn't there at all, actually. I don't think
Right.
that speech bubble was there in the original. And here's the comment thread. And now chat's hung up on Twilight Corn. Let's see. Roll the dice. Rainbow Dash and the Wonderbolts. That was an interesting little sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are arcs to talk about, and then there are sequences in those arcs that are also kind of interesting, each one for different reasons. 4 years is a tough thing to recap, and I did not really plan forward for this.
You know, your version of the Wonderbolts makes more sense than the canon version.
I get that a lot in regards to my interpretations of things, and I have to say that, one, I don't care, and two, not really.
No, I'm just meaning, like, well, to be fair, the canon was very, how do I put this?
Constrained to 22 minutes?
Yeah, not entirely that, but it's also somewhat episodic.
No.
What I mean is, we get this idea from Rainbow Dash that the Wonderbolts are awesome, but whenever they appear, they're aren't awesome, so that Rainbow Dash can look awesome.
The way I've always viewed them is they're your typical high school jocks.
Kinda, yeah. They are the athletes, and thus embody some of those stereotypes.
Yeah, and then we get like
this was a fun page.
Yeah.
The level up montage from Dragon Shy. Zarham's. Don't sing on stream ever. Stop.
And nonchalantly enter Eye of the Tiger here.
Do you find yourself repeatedly using certain screen caps for the mini face panels, or do you intentionally go out of your way to avoid reusing them? I intentionally go out of my way to avoid reusing specific panels or super similar panels. Sometimes when it's just a change in facial expression right next to each other, that's acceptable. But I try to avoid using the same screen cap twice. I've made a couple of mistakes according to that rule, but they aren't, I don't think, super noticeable, so... It's about that time, and I've got one more person in the queue. So, Chrono, do you mind if I kick you out and bring someone else in?
Not at all. Nice talking to you.
Thanks for joining. All right, let's see if this works. This one was kind of iffy because apparently he's got a... He's got a roommate that's messing with him, or so he claims. So this could just be a giant troll. Have there been any games you partook in that directly inspired a comic? Fellow Dragons does inspire a lot of it. The whole Pinkie Pie crazy sequence. A lot of some of the diplomacy jokes mapped to Tempered Steel. Some of the loony jokes mapped to Zenkarn as well. And some people kind of caught that immediately.
Right.
I feel like Pinky Keen was just a weird arc in general.
Yeah, that's what you... Well, I want to say that's what happens with guest GMs, but then Mahler's Take Manhattan and...
Kind of proves the point, though. You're playing with the plastic thing again. Just be glad Spud with an exclamation point didn't inspire a comic. Yeah! Be thankful, all of you, that didn't happen.
I still need to figure out what that is.
I've got a video on my YouTube channel. It's an adventure game from '93.
Is that one of the clicking points?
It's sort of. It's kind of more of a miss to like, but yeah.
Okay. Were the puzzles sensible?
No. No.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
my guy in the queue is not picking up, and I'm gonna stop trying. Which character has been the hardest to write for? They each have their own challenges. Applejack is probably by far the easiest.
Aside from the accent?
I can get my... I use Southernisms occasionally. I can get around the accent. Pinkie Pie is always a challenge. Fluttershy is sometimes hard to get her voice in edgewise, and I feel bad about that. Twilight is sometimes hard to get her out of the exposition fairy zone.
Yep.
I wouldn't say they're all... I've got ins with all of them by this point, as far as writing their characters and their reactions and trying to get them to push them where I need them to go. But with the exception of Applejack, I'd say each of them represents different challenges. Rainbow Dash is not the hardest, because when in doubt, I can just make her object to anything. She's kind of the conflict ball in a lot of situations. But the challenge there is doing that in a way that makes sense, or in a way that is more funny than just her being like, hey, wait a minute. What follows Dragon's moment caused you to sigh the hardest? That's... What do you think, Weaver, having been in that podcast? What do you think made me sigh the hardest in the whole campaign?
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm not entirely sure at all, because I don't really pay attention. I'm too busy laughing. I would assume it would be something with
Din's
Default
out. There
and
goes my
Zen
moderator.
card working. I would assume that it would have been something with Javolt and Zenkarn interacting and coming up with some great idea.
Javolt is just one long moment to which I am sighing constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when it runs this long, it's hard to find the best, because the favorite or the one I side to hardest, those change, those update kind of frequently.
Yep. Character development does that, I think.
Yep, basically. The context and circumstances change. Lintimus with his
Oh no, I know what made you sigh the hardest. It was the appearance of Smack Talk in the Mahler's Take Manhattan campaign.
Really?
No, I'm just saying that.
Okay. Well, here's one of double.
But I
chances.
know you really just freaked out about that.
I was a little wigged out, because it was, again, another of my characters not under my control, and thus having kind of a different personality.
Yeah, I tried to keep him, somewhat the same, but, he doesn't have that trauma that, he does in Fallout as Dragons, so.
Yeah. Strip 13, where the detail of the players enjoy their booze come from? Some early attempts at just kind of building character details. Yep, Dally, I showed you guys comic for a little bit. And then there's Dragon Trainer and the One Piece thing, who's basically kind of my cousin at this point. Been running about a year longer than me. But we kind of came in at the same point in the campaign comic family tree, I suppose.
Yeah.
How did I meet the players for Fallout as Dragons? That was an application thing.
Yeah, I actually didn't realize that I'd gotten in at first, but which is why I was missing from session 0.
Yeah, it's like we tried contacting you and it didn't quite go through until like the day after or so.
Yeah. Which is why in session 1 Javolt just randomly appears and grabs Powder Keg from off the street and starts gathering people for no readily apparent reason.
And annoying the crap out of them by calling them his minions or employees or something.
Yeah.
Those were the early days.
I really should have him get some minions at some point. Some
You-
actual
you-
minions.
You've got a couple, that might be enough.
What, Igor? Igor's the snarky lab assistant, kind of. And she doesn't really do anything for him.
I suppose not. But yeah, I think everyone's just kind of glad that didn't stick on the party, because that would have escalated. Rarity and being a thief. That's always been a ton of fun.
Necromancy's actually Zenkarn's thing. Javolt is probably going to go for robot minions at some point.
Canterlot. It's only a model. Shh.
Yeah.
I waited 440 pages for that joke.
So, actually, I don't know if you answered this earlier, but how did you choose the classes?
Oh, that was the series of blog posts by Erin Pallett. She very early on, she made.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen.
I've actually linked to them on the links page of
Yeah,
Friendship is Dragons.
I've seen quite a number of class interpretations for the main 6. Like, people will write crossovers into different roleplay systems, and there does seem to be some variation on which character is which class exactly.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of argument because there's so much splat in the different systems. So
Yeah, is Twilight a sorcerer or a wizard?
but I liked her reasonings, and I figured it was a good base as any, especially Rarity the Social Rogue. That just kind of like crystallized for me, and I was like, oh, well, that's perfect.
Yeah, have you heard about the D&D expansion to TSSFF? No, TSSF.
It rings a bell, but can't say I follow that particularly closely.
Yeah, there's this 9-card bits and bobs. The main 6 each has one class, and then a goal and a couple ship cards. So I know this because I've been busy consolidating the quotes from all the cards.
If the pony characters went nuts OP, how would they do at leadership feats? I'm not the person to ask because I am not actually good at at D&D. I don't know how to do mega OP or really good optimization. I'm just kind of faking it.
Do you have a... I know that Rainbow mentioned a program in one of her latest updates. Is that what you're using for the most part?
For the most part, yeah. And yes, I know I did a thing with 3.5 and going totally insane nuts OP, but that's different.
That was a crossover.
That was a crossover as well, and a different system entirely. This is still 4th. Haha, here come the angry comments about 4th edition. Here we go. Oh wait, no one actually cares anymore. Put them in 5th. Yeah.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about Dungeons and Dragons as a system. I mean, it's the grandfather system, so everyone's heard about it, but it's
Well,
ludicrously complicated, and nobody ever goes beyond saying Dungeons and Dragons is role-playing and then trying to find other systems. It's irritating when you're trying to introduce other people to this and all they've heard about is complex math.
Well, the problem is the people who get into that get used to complex math and learn to treasure it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
5e is actually pretty good. It's hard finding a good DM for 5e right now, though.
Yeah. I actually found a general DM guide, not system-based, but like how to assemble plots and
Those
generators.
are skills that are kind of general for all systems.
But there are very few guides.
Oh, what's stretching the page here? Ah, well.
Is what I'm saying.
But like, as far as like building for combat on the DM's side, there's often not great tools for that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember reading something
and
about...
Ponytails has like no tools for DMs, like zero.
I remember reading something about one guy trying to explain in this system, okay, if you want X characters to fight Y for Z rounds, this is how the math works, and I just was staring.
You know something, Williams? What would you say is closest to Ponytail's module? What do you mean by that? I don't understand the question. Yep, started the conversation about D&D editions. I don't actually care that much. I'm enjoying the world of homebrews right now, and I did a bunch of study on that stuff, which you can take a look at for the slideshow for my Everfree Northwest panel.
Yeah.
A bunch of homebrews and mods.
Did you do, was it just pony homebrews you did, or?
Just anything pony related.
Yeah. I've gotten into the habit of collecting not only real-world source books, but also digital source books, and not just pony stuff, but, you know. Got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different systems on my shelf right now.
On your shelf? Like physical copies?
Physical copies, and one splat book for one of those.
One of them is probably Pony Finder.
Yep.
One of the few that actually has a physical copy.
And then I also have this...
Chrono Zephyr. The only Shadowrun thing I have had exposure to are the games, particularly Dragonfall, which was amazing. So Shadowrun does interest me. I would like to actually run a game in it at some point, maybe, but I have my hands full a little bit.
You know, I'm like, my mind's saying, is the game better than the setting? Or is the setting better than the game? That's my
The setting's
question.
pretty interesting. I
Yeah,
I have a pseudo Shadowrun with Fall of Dragons. I don't think that's the case.
Yeah. You know, I also have the digital, lots of digital things.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I wouldn't say I want to DM a Shadowrun campaign, because again, I don't know much about the system. I'd like to play in a good Shadowrun campaign at some point.
Yeah.
Oh, alas, the fun has been halved. Oh, that's right. That was a joke I made. By changing the order of events slightly.
Yes. How many of these jokes are reliant on the readers being familiar with the show and or fandom, in your opinion?
Oh, I mean,
Or the game.
Either they depend on the show or they depend on knowledge of role-playing games and their common tropes. So, like, 95% of them. That's kind of the nature of this. Either you're...
Well, To be fair.
Either you're in this niche, or you're open to being introduced to this niche, or it's not for you.
Yeah. I actually found this ludicrously simple free to download system called First Fable. It was literally designed for like 6-year-olds or 8-year-olds, with an adult DM, but it's one of those interesting things,
Yeah.
Interesting to see how the genre has developed to the point where we are accommodating people outside the original target market. I'm just babbling because
Yeah,
no
no,
one else is talking.
Well, it's only you and me, and yeah, it's all babbling. I just don't really have anything to add to that. No Pinkie Pie Chicken isn't a class.
I think it is in the Rises rules. Have you heard of Rises?
Because I'm so focused on my one campaign right now, I don't really
fair enough.
I don't really have a great knowledge of all systems. I've done some research for the sake of, making sure my knowledge is expanded enough. I have awareness of things, but not really deep knowledge of things.
Yeah. I'm one of those. Oh, that's interesting. Click the link. Oh, that's interesting. Click the link. So I've got random trivia galore.
I have a limit to how deep I go. At some point, at some point, I need to come up for air and go back to the surface and just leave it alone.
Yep.
Clickbait sites hate me.
Well, I don't click ads or anything. I
well,
go
not ads, but I mean, like, this also might interest you, or here's a link to another thing, or...
You mean like TV tropes?
Yeah. TV tropes is a great example.
Yep.
By the way, based on this stream, people can now add a trivia page to your TV tropes page. Well, stream over. Goodbye.
Yeah. So how intelligent did you mean for the Diamond Dogs to come across as?
At the very least, the whole joke is that you think they're just dumb brutes, and then they turn out to be very savvy and opinionated. Oh, we're at subversion. But, yeah, I wanted them to come across as way more of a threat and not be so totally disarmed by rarity.
Yep.
So, it's not really that the goal was to make them intelligent, the goal was to make them a surprise. But I thought you wanted ranting. There we go.
That's a thing about the series, the canon series. At least in season 1, they introduce these interesting things and then they don't revisit them. I think they're fixing that now, but...
Well, it's not... This is not a... In spirit, this is not a show about continuity so much, although there's been plenty of fan service recently, but this is a show about showing off a bunch of toys, and not just toys in the physical sense, but toys in this sort of world-building sense. Like, here's a bunch of interesting stuff to play with in your imagination. Go nuts.
And we now have our own fanfiction website, completely separate from fanfiction.net.
Which,
How many fandoms actually have their own separate fan site?
Probably take a look in a general sci-fi direction, you'll find a few.
A few. Fair enough.
Whilst we're talking Pony, how far are you into the new season? Let's not talk about that. I'm not embarrassingly behind still.
Well, they did go on hiatus for a while, so...
I'm probably still not going to be caught up by the time they come back.
Oh, but that latest episode was just so... Insert spoiler!
I'm surprised you're being so careful.
Seriously though, it's one of those deep episodes. It's one of the ones that get people really talking.
I see. Spud was your favorite fanfiction story? Probably The Diary of an Evil Pony right now. I mean, it's still just really my favorite sort of short story thing in the fandom. I'm just a huge fan of that one in particular. Let's see. How about the really good page? Despite me having my favorites and my things atop, this is still probably the best page in the entire comic. Spud, what's your favorite story written by you?
What are you talking about? I'm on the call. Why would I have to type anything into the chat?
Let's not talk about your library of fics, shall we?
Yeah. I keep trying to complete them, but... You know? Well, some of them are meant to be ongoing forever, but, you know.
Did you read the crossover fic where... No, I didn't.
Do you read any crossovers?
I do, just not all of them.
Well, that's fair enough.
Oh, someone actually watched the Oblivious is Hair Let's Play. That's amazing. Spud was your favorite B-Team fic. Ha! I still need to write the second one. I still need to write in general.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I've known that feeling for over a decade. Anyway. Because before I was doing this, I was writing Kingdom Hearts fanfiction, and still technically am. I just need to get back into it.
Yeah, how can you write fanfiction for that? The mythology is very confusing.
The mythology became more confusing over time. It was easier before.
Yeah. But even back in the first game, there wasn't really that much explanation on what was going on.
The key conceit is that you can throw in any world in the Kingdom Hearts universe, and it makes sense. Oh my goodness, we're on this tangent. Let's abort.
How would you do crossovers between series with different multiversal constructs?
You don't. That's just a mess. Of all the Fall Dragons characters, who's your favorite self-made and/or PCs? Well, I think it's obvious from all the streaming I've been doing lately that Aurelia holds a special place in my heart at this point.
Yep. That's Narky Dragoness. In a couple centuries, she is going to be... I don't know.
Oh, the very first guest comic. Oh, someone saying Cage is overrated as a series. Okay. Cool story, bro.
Well, KH is one of those things that
You
could be done.
don't talk to me about KH opinions. That's just not a good idea.
I haven't been able to play through the games because they're not really my style of games.
They are super my style of games, as far as the gameplay goes.
I would love to, though, because it looks like it could be so interesting if I could just get it.
You don't have to.
But I need to. That's just how my mind works.
We are still
It's
on
like,
this tangent. I requested an abort of this tangent a long time ago. Oh
No,
goodness,
this is a different tangent.
this was a guest comic I made. Whoa, I forgot about this.
Yeah. So, did you at least see episode 100?
Yes, I saw episode 100 because people were going to spoil the crap out of me if I didn't.
Yep.
As it is, people still spoiled the crap out of me. I'm looking at you, Dragon Mauler's chat. I'm looking at you, particularly Zarhan. Would you
Yeah,
do a
the dragon-
comic-fied version of Dragon Baller's events if you could? Yeah, amazing. If I only had those skills where I could
Well, there are the
art.
animatics. If more people did the animatics, we could probably do
Oh yeah.
something like that.
Oh yeah, we did a few animatics and those were amazing.
Well, the fans did animatics.
No,
And-
we did.
and
We
Dally.
did
Oh!
we did animatics.
Oh, I thought it was the fans.
Dally did an animatic, Space Otter did an animatic, and then, well, Double Cross, who was a fan, she did an animatic. And
Okay,
then Lapis Lazuli was working on one. And then he stopped that for over a year.
Yep. Okay, I got confused.
So
I'm sorry.
it was us. It was internal who made those animatics.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused.
And the animatics are good. We just should. And, you know, if anyone else can art and video, I'd invite them to take a clip out as well, but, you know, that's not something you just ask people to do. So, anyone want to do it?
Yes, Blinky spelled with a Y or an IE?
IE.
IE what?
Blinky spelled with an IE.
No, IE means an example.
You want me to drop you from the call? Because I can do that. I have the power.
I'm sorry, that was a bad joke.
It was. Thank you for recognizing it. Ah, the Rainbow Dash recap. I still read through it now and again, but it's been a little while. Periwinkle's gonna scream because Periwinkle's not meant to be on fire. That was a good moment from that animatic.
Yep.
Also, IE means id est, so...
Ah,
EG is example gratia, so...
Latin is so confusing.
That's why we don't use it anymore. Except for abbreviations and a few very notable exceptions. Whatever.
Oh yeah, where did you come up with the idea for carrot?
Well, I don't know, it just kind of came fully formed. It's like, what do we do with Angel? Oh, he's the reincarnation of an imp as a D&D character, and now he's a pet, and he has an old imp name.
Because I'm still wondering where you found that carrot pun.
I googled for a list of imp names. And I happened to find that, and I was like, well, that's perfect on every conceivable level. So I was validated by random Googling.
Google tends to do that. And then the awkward Angel Fluttershy.
We get it, he's ironically named, we get it. Oh yeah, the stare down in Dragon Shy. Yep. Is it Dragon Ball? There we go, yep. Dragon Shy no more. Let's see, no drop frames here. Okay.
Yeah. Would you actually allow your players to get away with this if you were DMing?
It's really not that simple of a question because the tabletop experience is the sum of all the personalities of the players involved, so
And there's the fact that do you DM IRL or do you just use Skype?
that is also true. This is very kind of implied to be in a real life game, so
I know I keep trying to have Javont make these dramatic speeches and then the other characters interrupt and... Like, I keep writing these big dramatic speeches for the next guy that we end up fighting, and...
because no one really has patience for the big dramatic speeches, and you also tend to kind of stutter over them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're not that dramatic. People don't like it when you try to make something more dramatic than it is. Do I read the "Do not hurt my friends" in Fluttershy's deep voice? No, I read it in her canon voice for that scene. It's basically lifted from that.
Yeah. So
But as far as like if the player
Does-
made a performance like this, like really got into it like this and came off as genuinely kind of terrifying, I wouldn't like burst into tears like the DM did, I suppose, but I would allow that result to happen because yeah.
So does taking lines from the episode make writing easier?
No, because generally my job is to put a new spin on it and try not to lift it.
Yeah.
But the writing on the show is actually really good and succinct, so it's hard not to lift that because it's pretty good writing.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a question. Let's say that for some magical reason, Twilight Sparkle from your comic meets Twilight Sparkle from the show. Because magic.
Well, okay, here's a counter question. What if Javolt met you? Because that's
It would be very different.
That's kind of the same question though, because the way I write
Yeah, I guess
the way I write the characters is if the characters were being played by the canon characters, sort of,
Yeah.
with a different backstory. And okay, so it's not exactly the same, but it's like what if as a player you met your character? That's basically kind of how that would go.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough.
Especially for a character that is a carbon
did not
copy
think
of yourself in a lot of ways.
I did not think that question through.
It's not a question I really think about because it's not that interesting, because it's like, oh, we're almost exactly the same person, except with a different skill set. Okay.
Whoop.
You got a sigh. Congratulations.
My job is finished.
Basically. How long have we been going? Oh, it's an hour and a half already.
We plan to go 6 hours, right?
Sure, yeah. All day, nothing but this, just randomly browsing the site and talking just random stuff. Oh man, I haven't had anyone try and contact me for getting on the Skype call in a while. Oh, no, we got someone. The same person as before, but let's try again. Add people. Let's do that. Let's see if that works out.
Yeah, a Javolt shipping thing was not planned.
It kind of became a running gag, yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of... I don't know if he ever actually came out and said this, but he's old, very old, and he gets this idea in his head that he has to make sure everyone he ever meets is in a better situation before he dies. And that's why he tries to make sure they can be with people that would put them in a better situation. It's just that he's not very good at it.
Yeah, and it always looks like a much more simpler explanation.
Oh.
Looks like that call tried and failed.
Twilight rolls a 29 for Arcana and barely gets anything. And then she has a nightmare.
Yep.
I mean, that's an interesting couple of jokes regarding RPG mechanics.
That's a weird theme to have playing there. Alright, so I'm gonna do something I'd rather not and add Zarhan to the call.
Wait, is Zarhan the guy with the...
Hello.
Zarhan, are you the guy with the thing?
The what?
The guy with the thing? What thing?
Yes.
What thing?
I have no idea.
Thanks for
My brain
wasting our
just-
time.
Sorry.
Same things.
There's another sigh for you.
So here's a question: the Kinemar Crusaders. What's kind of their deal in the comic besides being used for guest comics?
I don't really have a use for them. They're kind of not a thing right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've seen a couple different interpretations of them in the non-canon comics. Like, there's the version where apparently Twilight is DMing them and they're also helping the original DM with ideas for his campaign, and I don't know. I think there's like an interesting story going on there, but it's not one that would ever be addressed in canon because reasons.
I think my original idea was that I was going to have them be kind of a subgroup for Applejack Rarity and Rainbow Dash's players. So that they'd basically have the child characters to play and that'd be kind of a separate
Group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is an idea. Like, then you can have them, I don't know, do one group does one thing and then the other has consequences because of it. Alright, you burned the forest. Great job. Now the other
Yeah.
group will have to clean up after you.
Yeah, there was also that joke where Apple Bloom says, Scootaloo had that session with Luna, and then Sweetie Belle had that session last week, and so this week is it my turn? And then Twilight panics because she didn't plan that. How
Oh, yeah,
real is that joke, Spud?
Well, it's not. That was a guest comic, so it wasn't my joke.
Well, they can
But-
continue it now with,
Oh yeah, the Spaceballs joke.
spoilers.
Was there any art, comic, or even panel that you wish you'd done differently or gone down a different storyline with? Again, Bridal Gossip kind of comes to mind. I'm not sure exactly what I would have done differently because it was just kind of a mess all around and the characters kind of support that, but I wish it hadn't been quite so frustrating for all parties involved. There's a lot of miscommunication and pointing fingers, and generally that just doesn't foster a good mood in a role-playing game. Bridal Gossip did not turn out as well as I would have liked.
In the comic, there's a bunch of NPCs. Which of them are interpretation is your favorite?
Of
Of
the NPCs?
Yeah.
Well,
Basically the background ponies or the NPCs. So
actually, Apple Bloom was kind of my favorite for a while. Fancy Pants as well. Yeah, kind of a toss-up between Apple Bloom and Fancy Pants, probably.
So, how many of your NPC interpretation... No, wait. How many characters, when you move them over to this comic, how many characters do you change, and to what degree? That's not
Depends on what I need for the services of the story.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. But,
Yeah,
I mean,
character and story are kind of, as far as I'm concerned,
like I know.
inseparable.
Like, I know that Jet Set and Upper Crust were completely different from how they appeared on the show.
Because I needed them to serve a completely different role than what they serve on the show.
Yeah.
So where did the whole Twilight keeps winning the game when she shouldn't come from?
Will this be going on YouTube? Yes, of course it will. I'm recording a local copy, and that's going to be the thing that happens.
And this is the part where all the chat people say "Hi, Mom" simultaneously.
No. Because whose mom's really going to watch this? Oh, we got a couple more.
Yep.
Mykin. Okay. Weaver, I think I'm going to kick you out so I can bring some different people in, if that's alright.
Should I jump off this cliff here?
Yeah, if you want to.
Alright, here I go. Goodbye, everyone!
You did that well.
That actually turned out pretty well. Okay. Let's add you. That was actually kind of funny.
It's a hunter. You can talk now, Hunter.
Oh,
How do
there's
I
also
sound?
there's also Sapphire Shores. That was also actually that might be one of my favorite NPC interpretations of all in the whole game right now. And then there's the whole elusive mystery, which I know the answer to, and that might also be my favorite when it finally gets revealed.
And now comments start to go crazy and furious.
All right, Hunter, how you doing?
I'm
Sorry.
yeah, that's fine, either one. How do I sound?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Yep.
Good.
So 4 years. What do you think?
Wow, probably started about 3 years ago reading this, and I have never missed a comic.
Nice.
So,
I've missed a few, but
It's a leaf comic.
Yeah, it's fun to read, and I've since my YouTube stuff, I've really learned to appreciate the amount of work and editing it takes to actually make some of these.
it's honestly not that much. Then I said, let's
Well,
get
you
all the
say
secrets
that,
out.
but-
Rarity is a thief. Rainbow Dash is a psycho. Applejack's an embezzler.
Yeah.
I don't
You say that
embezzle.
like, I mean, you take 1 hour, but like, you know, when I made the Welch comic, that took me like, what, 2-3 hours, and it was super simplistic.
Yeah, it helps that I have good software for making lots of comics repeatedly, which again, once this starts to wind down, I might actually show that off.
Ooh, yay.
Because,
Maybe you can make like a YouTube video timeline.
well, this would just be the video where I show off my process.
Yeah, like set up or whatever those artists do. So I asked earlier, where did the whole joke with Twilight somehow winning the game when she shouldn't, which she did now for the third time with this latest comic?
Well, I wouldn't consider this latest thing, her winning the running of the leaves, to be part of that joke, because the joke with Twilight is that she derails.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see why she won.
Yeah, that'll actually be the next comic. That'll be
Yeah, because like,
Thursday's comic. It's Thursday's comic will just be a kind of exposition. It's like, here's what happened.
yeah, like how you changed it up to make her the actual winner for some reason.
Yep. That's
That's
the
a-
joke. That's the punchline.
Yay. Oh yeah, Spike. You didn't mention Spike as an NPC / familiar.
Oh
Is
yeah.
he by Twilight or the DM more?
Huh? What do you mean by that? I didn't
No,
catch all of that.
Oh, never mind. The actual obvious. Yeah, because like Spike's supposed to be her Twilight's familiar.
But
They
he's
sort of-
been upgraded to full-on NPC status. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So they think of him as in the comic.
Spike's kind of like exactly the same.
Yeah.
Basically, whatever you need him to be.
Basically, whatever I need him to be,
Yeah. Including the whole romance thing.
including yeah.
Wait, he's elusive.
Okay.
It makes perfect sense. He's elusive.
Have any of the comic events been inspired by something in IRL game? I think I've answered that before. Yes, Fall of Dragons has definitely played a part. Some of my other real-life campaigns, I've drawn insight from them. They've inspired a few things. The Fall of Dragons references are a bit more direct. Everything else is just kind of, based off of my experience. Spike is elusive. It makes sense. Hey, Sarhan, stop double dipping. You're in the call.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the part where Rainbow Dash figures out how to make Philomena rebirth.
That was actually really clever.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash has her moments, and I like that. And then Applejack's like, guess it takes a prima donna to know a prima donna. Hey! Yeah, Fall of Dragons over the internet, no, I guess if you mean real life game that things have been inspired by, well, my last real life game was kind of before the comic started. It's actually been quite a... Well, I've had a few, like, combat games since then, but, nothing happened in there that really directly inspired real-life events in the comic.
Interesting thing though with the whole pony and friendship with dragons and D&D stuff is that, well, since Pony came up from Hasbro, and Hasbro has technically been directly involved with stuff with D&D stuff like Monster
Wizards of
Masters.
the Coast, yeah.
So it's like there's like a direct link between all of these.
Yeah,
The
you
Hydra,
can draw the conspiracy theory there.
yeah, like the Hydra, the what was it? What else was? The cockatrice, the phoenix.
Oh.
I think the cockatrice was like the most obvious D&D relation here with it.
Yeah.
And now they've branched into more of Greek mythology.
Well, it's such an easy thing to branch into.
Yeah, Greek mythology is just plain ripe and ancient enough that you can remix it however you want.
Yeah. But they've also started branching into other like less obscure mythology. Tatzel worms and Ahuizals.
Yeah, no, it's not like it's exclusive. It's all fair game, and it's all kind of interesting. I brought up the Taraxipus into this world for Pete's sake.
The what?
The Taraxipus.
That mixture of Tarrasque and platypus.
No, it's frickin' feeling pinky keen.
Oh, I was trying to think
The
of
ghost
where you
that
did
scares
it. Yeah.
ponies.
Taraxipus?
I feel sad saying that I completely forgot that in the comic she actually DM stuff.
Oh, let's see.
I need to see this again. Taraxipus?
Yeah. Uh-huh. It's...
That's Cerberus. The...
Let's see. It's all Greek to me. There we go. Look for the Greek joke. That's where it...
Read it.
You're looking for a Taraxipus. It's a shadowy ghost that specializes in scaring horses. Not exactly Equestria's most wanted, then. But yeah, that's actually a thing from Greek mythology. And that was kind of the background villain of the feeling Pinky Keen arc, even though the Hydra was kind of the bigger threat.
Is this also a thing in D&D?
No, because it's a ghost that just scares horses. Nothing else, just scares them. It is not even a D-list monster. No one remembers this thing because it does not matter, but it is still technically part of Greek mythology.
I was gonna say, it's not often someone can pull a monster from Greek mythology that I've not heard of, but there it is.
They did it in season 5 too.
Lame Chupacabra.
Like, they expanded on what.
Lane Chupacabra.
They've gone beyond the whole what we know about griffins in common and into the more obscure stuff of griffins.
Yep. Alright, Zarhan, I think I'm gonna kick you out and bring in another dude. Is that alright?
Okay.
See you around.
I will have my vengeance.
And out he goes.
I'm not sure if you already said this because I joined like not even an hour ago. What is your personal favorite arc in the comic?
Again, it's so hard to decide. That is incredibly difficult. Because they all not only have the characters developed over time, which changes the context of things a bit, but they're all pretty darn good, except for Bridal Gossip, which has the most blatant flaws, but...
Nika has a good question. Do you have a favorite story from the comic comments section?
Hello?
Hello! Digo!
hey.
Digo, however that's pronounced. I've never known. Please answer this question for me.
Digo.
Digo! At last! I figured it was that, but sometimes with the alternates you can never be sure.
Right.
So yes, welcome to the call.
Oh, woo, yay, thank you.
Make sure to mute the stream so that you don't get echoes.
Yeah, I did.
Good, good.
Alright.
So, but yeah, I find it incredibly difficult to pick out a favorite of the arcs.
Yeah, that makes sense. You've been doing this 4 years, and yeah, might as well choose your favorite lung or your favorite kidney.
Yeah, basically. What's your favorite story time? I mean, stories in the comments. Obviously, well, the ones that made into the storytime videos are pretty good, I think, but those were also ones that could be fit to a screen cap sequence from the show, so it's not. Obviously, The Five Fathers, I think, is the best storytime comment.
Oh, that one was beautiful.
Yeah,
It was.
That will always be the reigning champion unless something even more inspiring comes along.
Which brings up the question, do you have any plans on making another one, and if so, when?
Page 700.
Ah, okay.
That'll be Storytime 3. That's why this is not Storytime 3, because I wanted to do something that wasn't...
Spoiler alert.
And I have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I recall my story about the knock-knock joke door made one of those.
Yep, you made it into the second one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was such a hilarious moment in my career.
I liked it.
I think all of my stories just wouldn't fit the...
Was there a story time you
Screen
really wanted to
caps.
put in a video but couldn't because you couldn't find any screen caps for it? I don't know, the ones I really wanted to get in there, I kind of bent over backwards to make them work, so not really. I mean, I got Five Fathers in there, so like if I couldn't get that one, there wouldn't have been a point, but
I think one of the...
Sorry, yeah?
No, I was going to mention that I think one of the things that I keep missing that I have to keep constantly coming back for is a lot of your titles have little in-jokes in themselves.
I miss so many of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I find that incredibly funny, actually, that the titles kind of slip by people, so I'm like, well, I'll just put whatever garbage joke there. Just whatever, make a reference to Lilo and Stitch, who cares? Someone will notice, and that'll be like, ooh, that was a hidden little moment. No, it was right there on the top of the page, but whatever. It is somehow enhanced in entertainment value by being so of little consequence. Ever consider what my own cutie mark would be? I don't really have a pony OC. I don't really want to have a pony OC, so I have never dedicated any brain cells towards answering that question, and will continue to not do that. But when I make pony characters, you know, that's a different thing. That's for role playing. So I have a bunch of OCs technically, but
none that really are just you personally.
yeah, no, I have no pony version of myself because I like the human version. Thank you.
But the human version is so dull.
Yeah, I know, but it's the only one I've got.
Well, you could be the human version in the Equestria Girls universe.
Huh.
I'm not even gonna touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Sure, why not? The spud face. I don't know how that suddenly became a word, but my avatar, yeah, that thingamabob. That white circle with 2 dots and a line that suggests hair. I think back when I was in high school for a class that required a presentation, I decided to make an animatic of all things in the style of Yahtzee Crowshaw's Zero Punctuation.
Ooh.
And so that was the head of my sort of model. And it was kind of a crappy video. I think I've since taken it down. And I don't have the sort of sprite sheets for that anymore. But I kept the head and just used that as an avatar for some reason, and it's kind of stuck. Yeah, I don't really think you could call it anything other than Spud Face, because it is just a face, barely even a head. It's a circle. But that's the story. That's the secret. It's really not that important because it just kind of has to stand up on its own, and I'm not going to try making another Zero Punctuation style thing in a while, so... I cannot art. That is the only thing I have even attempted to vaguely art that's turned out to be kind of striking, so...
Which is funny, because in all the animatics and everything, it's so editable to make in emotions with that simple little image.
It is, yeah. That was kind of the whole point, was that just by changing around the eyes a bit, you can get a lot of mileage out of expressions out of it. Oh, and here's Smarmony Tries.
Yes.
While you're here in the
that
call.
was such a good one.
Yeah. He almost made us forgot that Diamond Tiara was kind of unlikable.
The end.
But yeah, there was a time where I, mainly in the later years of high school, where I followed Zero Punctuation really closely. And then I realized when I got to college that everyone was passing off his opinions as their own, and I realized I'd watched them all like religiously, so I could already tell when an opinion was based off of something he said, and I was like, whoa, okay, I gotta back off. Zero exhalation.
Zero spudification.
There you go.
So what's forget arc. What's your favorite page? I guess Digo, if you can pick one. Maybe not the favorite, but just a favorite that comes to mind.
I think a favorite that comes to mind is early on when Twilight's character, or I should say player, kind of figures out the elements and manages to
Yeah.
kind of put it together and and pull that victory out of what seemed like a defeat.
Yeah, that's still. I said earlier, that's still probably the best page in the entire run. Like it was a peak, but it was damn good peak.
It was good, yes. It's one of those things that, you know, I've been a game master for almost 2 decades, and I love when players can think outside the box and suddenly score a victory when I didn't even see it coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's just amazing when that happens.
So one of those moments that a DM lives for.
Kinda, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just when the story reaches that climax.
Yes.
Oh. All right, now it's been like 2 hours.
How long were you actually planning on doing this for?
At least this long.
Okay.
So
well, there you
we
go.
can definitely still keep going for a while. I don't have a maximum limit, and I give more time for people to show up, so that'd be nice.
I don't know why. Probably one of my favorite pages is the scene between Elusive and Rarity. Maybe because I've never actually seen Thief Talk done well.
Not Elusive. Elusive hasn't shown up in the comic.
Oh, not Elusive, but
Are you thinking of Sapphire Shores or Fleur de Lis?
that one, yeah. Sorry, but the
Fleur
Thief
de
Talk,
Lis, right? Yeah.
yeah. I've never seen Thief Talk done well, and
I
except
wouldn't
for that,
say it's done that well. It's basically just a couple of code phrases, but
well, when you tell players, "Oh, thief speak, go,"
like you have to be. Thief speak is the thing you have to be passionate about, which Rarity is, and the DM apparently to an extent is just they enjoy that sort of thing. So that's kind of requisite. Oh dear! Don't time out on me.
Uh-oh.
Come on, Comic Fury. Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm keeping hydrated. Don't worry about me. Then
Ooh,
Oh,
I have a question. The DM in the comics, did you base him off of anyone in particular, or is he kind of like Spike? He's just what you need him to be?
no, he's not really based off anyone in particular. Yeah, he's just kind of. Well, he's to a certain. I mean, I don't. The thing is, everyone has a bunch of headcanons, and I don't want to trample over any of them. Let's just say he's kind of based off of an amalgamation of every DM I've ever encountered, and then take that and then fit him to or her to what I need them to be for this comic. That was a super roundabout way of saying I'm not saying.
Oh, another comic that comes to mind that was really good was the Diamond Dog rant about Equestria.
Yeah, Subversion that's another one that's like that was one of the big hits.
Yeah, that was a
good
great
peak.
use of subversion.
I titled it Subversion, and it was perfect because that was basically the whole thing personified. There was. Let's go back earlier a bit. We've been kind of browsing the middle a bit. Yeah, I'm just randomly browsing while we talk. I don't really have a structure for this. Just kind of
Rolling the die.
rolling the dice. I don't have a random button on the site, and I don't think I should.
I don't think so either.
But I can just bring the drop down menu and just scroll for a bit and randomly click, and that works well enough. If I really want to make it random, I can go to rolls.org and roll a 1d626.
Oh, there was. I remember a fan. I think a fan made the strip where it was all physical figurines.
Oh yeah,
And
there's been a couple of those.
And it ended up being the thief was the only one left to fight the giant crab monster that was tailor-made for all 6
Yep.
of them.
Yep.
It seems like something my players would do.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The thing I mainly notice when I see the earlier comics is just spacing, structure, paneling. It's all very early on, trying to figure out distances and sort of bubble placement.
I'm not sure if I'm seeing that right, but was Twilight more pink for a couple of panels?
Yeah, some of the color correction on the videos I had at this stage were a little interesting. They were a bit brighter and bit higher contrast than expected. These days, the ones I've got right now are pretty, I'm pretty satisfied with the color correction on them, the files I have.
I'm not sure if this was asked, but what inspired you to make these?
Yeah, it was at the start. To repeat because I took a while on that answer. Basically, I was about to head back to college. Summer was running out. I was going to run out of my D&D because I was going back to college. You know, campaigns had ended, and I needed something new, and I wanted to make a webcomic. And those two thoughts collided. And I eventually settled on, well, let's just do the Demon of the Rings thing, but with ponies, and see if that pans out. And it has.
Majorly.
Yeah.
One thing that some of the pages have in the comment section, sometimes people will come up with ideas. I'm wondering, like, if say you had an idea for an arc, and then somebody makes a comment, you ever have a moment where you look at their idea and it's like, that seems a little bit better than mine?
So the DM thing?
Sort of.
The thing that a DM does? Yeah, I think it's safe to say that that's happened once or twice, but in that case, I always make sure to throw in something else to surprise them or be an extra joke along the way. So, I mean, the thing about writing something sort of in progress constantly is that you can take feedback and kind of tweak things to anticipate or to surprise readers that are paying attention like that. I wouldn't say that they're creating things like that or getting an author credit in this way.
Right.
But
inspiration.
Yeah, inspiration, feedback in general. It's kind of the same way if you actually release just a whole book and get a bunch of feedback on that, read comments on that and whatnot, and then that kind of affects what you write in the second whole book. It's just that, but in a much smaller cycle. Yeah, it's a natural thing for a writer to do. If you're paying attention to your audience, you want to to kind of pay attention to what's working and what's not. To what people are interested in and what they're not.
Which does give me another question. Was there ever a time that you had an idea for something and then partway through or like directly after that thought you went, oh, yeah, that's not, doesn't fit with what I said previously?
Now I get caught on that all the time. I just I just say whatever. It's like, oh, I said this before. Whoops. Well, I tend to be less careful about that specific issue. I try to continuity is important, but especially as things get longer. And especially when you go through periods where you're just kind of making it up as you go, it's hard to keep that in line all the time, 100%. And especially in a series where the continuity is not really the super important thing as the jokes. I mean, to have an internal logic is one thing. To be 100% consistent all the time is another, and not as necessary.
Right, right. Ah, yes, Pinky's Bluff.
Oh yeah, the first, probably what I'd call the first big sort of remix or break from the canon. Besides Rarity being a social rogue, that was the other one. Was there a particular panel or a series of panels you thought were pretty bad but were really well received? Oh, that's an interesting one. I can't think of anything, but I get the feeling there might have been something like that where I thought it was going to be just kind of like, well, this isn't that great, but then people were like, well, that's hilarious, and but for the life of me, I can't think of what that might be. The comic in general kind of fits under that heading, if I'm being honest. Just like it's a screen cap crossover thing. Why are people still watching? Says the part of me with the zero self-esteem.
Because it's super enjoyable and it makes us laugh.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Anyway, I'm just gonna stroke that ego for a bit there. Okay, good. Did any of your comics create some kind of unwanted drama?
Ooh.
I wouldn't say the comics themselves. Certainly plenty of drama over the particulars of 4th edition. That there's been plenty of that. You know, and every time like some very specific system thing comes up in the comic these days, there's always like, oh right, 4th edition, and then there's a comment thread along those lines. Have you ever had a series of panels that you thought were good but were ill-received? Not really. Certainly, after 4 years, it's happened a couple times. But at this point, if it's, I'm very hard to make laugh out loud. But if I like a series of panels, chances are other people are going to like them too. If I especially really like them, chances are it has been well received as well.
5 words or less.
5 words or less. Oh, this is another one of my favorites.
Oh, that was a good one, yeah.
We shadowboat to your captain, except much better. Any unexpected audience favorite you got from a comic strip? That's kind of up to you guys. I don't know. I don't know. That's just kind of asking the question from before, but in a different way again. Whereas, like, with something unexpectedly well received, well, the comic in general. Any that the comments exploded on? You guys you tend to explode for a variety of reasons, but usually just kind of tell stories in the comments. I've long since gotten used to the fact that the comments that actually comment on the comic are a bit of the minority, which I think is better for the community than just than the opposite. But meh.
I do love Rainbow Dash's logic of why not to join the
Yeah, you guys are the punchline of this joke of a forest. You're big old ninja clowns. Why would I want to be part of that? The whole sequence that stemmed from 5 words or less, and then the DM like rolling with it, and then it looks like Rainbow Dash might actually go again, and then like some of my favorite stuff is just when I remix something, but then manage to make the same like tension work a little better. Like Applejack being honest about the cliff drop.
Mhm.
Have you ever read a comment that has annoyed you, angered you? Certainly. some of Raxon's stuff, obviously. But I've gotten used to Raxon. I like Raxon now. A lot of the polls kind of rub me the wrong way. I hate to name drop, but I think it's pretty plain to see. Yeah, some of the polls are just kind of like, why are we doing this? Especially the ones that involve like role playing or taking a pony out on a date. Role play in the chat or comment section. Those are just kind of not what I want in the comment section. How did you feel once the storytime tradition started to be a regular, expected thing that was a big part of the comment section and general view community? I think my reaction when I realized that this was a thing and that it was contributing in that way was, yes, this is a very good thing. Like, I mean, once I managed to wrap my head around that was a tradition, which wasn't that far in, to be honest. I mean, it was established pretty early on. I was like, well, yeah, role players love to tell their own stories, and encouraging that means that there's more content for people to read through, and which keeps them on the site longer, which means that, and the stories are also pretty interesting, and, you know, speak to a wide variety of experiences. It is basically an enrichment in a grand form, and there's really no reason to dislike that. And of course, we've gotten to the point now where I've trained you guys, I like to think, where if I don't prompt something, then someone else prompts something or goes based off the comic, and, you know, that's excellent.
Pavlov's comic.
Pavlov's comic, yeah. Yes, yes, that is a good thing, he said, completely deadpan.
Zombies?
Well, is it? I don't know. I think got one more in the queue. I think Hunter, I think I will let you go free and bring in the last guy.
Freedom!
All right. This has been going pretty well. At this point, we might be getting to the point where I say, let's wrap up the sort of rambly, random browsy part, and we actually show off some of the comic process, but we'll stick around for a little while longer.
Mykin!
How do you find readers tend to find your way to the comic? I know some found it through various pony sites and TV tropes. That's basically the gist of it, is pony aggregate sites, you know, sometimes when it shows up on Reddit, you know, the one time it showed up on Equestria Daily. And TV tropes, yeah. Those seem to be the major vectors.
Yeah. I found it through your Storytime is Magic YouTube video, ironically enough.
Oh yeah, YouTube is also, you know, the Fall is Dragon stuff kind of leads back into the comic as well.
I can't remember how I found it.
Oh, by the way, hi everyone.
Hello, this is Mykin.
Hi!
And this is a guy I met at Everfree Northwest this year, so...
Ooh.
Yep, so this is one of the few I've actually met in person.
Hello.
So I'm assuming he doesn't
Hopefully I
look
don't
like
sound
that
too
with the
dorky.
white eyes.
Everyone sounds dorky in this. Don't even care about that.
Yes.
Everyone's a huge nerd in here. You guys are watching a stream about a 4-year-old screencap webcomic for My Little Pony and D&D. I know, there's been some problems. Not on my end. I'm not reporting any dropped frames from OBS, but internet being internet.
Like, my situation's entirely different. My dad has a firewall and it just blocks random things.
You can't make an
So I'm
exception
streaming
for...
through. He's not here at the moment, and I don't have a password, so I've been trying to stream it through my phone, but my phone reception sucks.
Gotcha.
So this is about the only time I've actually heard any of it. Other than that, I've been complaining on the forums, which I really shouldn't have. I'm a bad person for that. But no, I'm here now.
Yeah, like, you know, Dahlia's like, I thought people found the podcast through the comic, not the other way around. And it's like, there's some. It's mostly I direct people to the podcast from the comic, but, you know, there have also been some people the other way around. Because the podcast has been getting a steady following as well, which is always nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely was a surprise when I was looking through the Fallout Equestria main site and I saw it pop up there as well, and I was like, oh, well then, this is a thing now.
Yes.
Yep, it's been on there for a while, and thankfully I haven't had to be the one updating it, or else it would never be updated on there.
Yeah. And I still need to catch up with it. I'm on session, 13? So
We're up to
bit
46 and now a side series, so...
Yeah, I'm going to have to find a Saturday to just blaze through it all.
It is... We have definitely created a binge watching thing, as I've basically been tracking Digo's progress through the comments he makes.
Oh my.
Because
really?
I get few enough comments on the YouTube channel that I can just
Now I feel
afford to
bad.
have email notifications and not blow up my inbox.
Jeez, I need to comment more then.
Yeah. I've been running it while I've been doing my artwork.
Yeah, it's
Just
the
like
podcasting is such a thing that it's really kind of best if you don't active listen as much. You just kind of
Yeah, I listened to it while
multi-
playing Fallout New Vegas.
Yep.
Kind of an
Watch the
Inception thing going
podcast
on
longer
there.
than the actual MLP series. Well, yeah, considering every episode is 3 hours long.
Yeah, indeed.
Over 100 hours of content, I believe that. It's that's the thing I was worried about initially, is that it's just a huge barrier to entry. It's like, who's got time to listen to all of this? But people seem to like it. So, and that's a tabletop podcast for you.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few. There's probably many more. I just don't go out looking for.
Yeah, there's a few more. Not a whole lot for pony stuff, obviously, but
Yeah.
I do think yours was what really clenched me into the Fallout Equestria universe.
Same.
Because I tried to read the book and I didn't really get into it.
which
But
is
I
funny
guess-
because my take on Fallout Equestria is to what should we do? Let's take out the guns.
Which never made sense to me until later on when I actually got into Fallout and looked through all this stuff, and I thought, yeah, that might cause some issues there, especially when you have to deal with this and that and whatnot.
Well,
Let me close the door before my dog
mostly
starts barking.
mostly for the game system. I didn't want to figure out range for the combat system in Ponytails. So I was like,
I would've
so
thrown
there's
it
a curse
out.
that takes out all guns forever. Let's go.
It's creative. Very creative.
Yeah, I like how the
It
curse
is creative.
Oh, right, this page. Oh, Aloe, Lotus, whatever.
Which page?
245. Pardon, Mom and Dad, but there's a group of guards waiting outside for you. And then everyone just freaks out. She said one sentence, people.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of smacks of how this. One thing I've noticed about this fandom as I'm slowly inching my way into it is just how many background ponies get adopted and just fanned over like nobody's business.
That's also true of role-playing games as well. Adoption.
Oh yes.
Adoption of bit characters is a thing that is shared by both fandom and role-playing. Honestly enough, it's a dig at kind of both of them.
Yeah,
it's a very efficient punchline.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite RPG, which also spawned the guest comic I made, was a character by the name of Demon Lady, who was this farmer's daughter. She wasn't supposed to be important whatsoever, but the moment the bandits started attacking, our DM decided that she would try to help as well and rolled a nat 20 and automatically ripped the guy in half. And since then, she has been in our party for that entire campaign, which ran like 30 sessions. I also happen to like her because at that time she was the only NPC to actually like my character, and considering my character kept dying off every other session, well... But that's my experience with NPCs. It's either they like me or they hate me, and there's very little in between, so... But that one stuck out in my mind most as far as adopted NPCs go. I know. I'm odd.
Oh, that's right. Chrono, Chris, the IDW comic thing. That was an interesting little experiment.
Oh, yeah.
Where's Mike and the bots when you need them? What about that comic with the Derpy showing up and the PC is ignoring her? What about it?
Jeez. Yeah, what about that one?
The main joke of that one is, it was like, hey, here's a quirky character. Nope, not interested. It's kind of the opposite of the Backstage Pass one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the opposite when a DM just tries to shove an NPC down your throat and the rest of the PCs are just like, no. Just no.
You can't force it.
No. It's like Craggy.
Can't force a Craggy?
Actually,
You can't force a Craggy, yeah. It just kind of happens. When the DM wants you to like an NPC, that's the one.
I've had one. Oh, go ahead.
I had one campaign where the main boss was a red dragon, and for some reason I couldn't really get the players to hate her as the main villain, and instead they latched onto this one little side character as the main bad guy, and it was kind of, and it came about that it was a throwaway NPC that I created based on one character's backstory. I gave him a half-brother, and the character, he comes from a long line of warriors. So this throwaway NPC was a mage, who was basically like the family black sheep. And for some reason, I don't know how I lost control of it and ended up with this little NPC just suddenly becoming the biggest threat to the world.
I wish I had stories like that, but I've never been in a campaign where we actually had a big main bad guy. It's usually just all of us going off and doing whatever the crap we wanted, with less than stellar results if any of my story times is to be believed. Which they should be, because they're all they all are. They actually did happen, and I'm going to shut up now before I dig myself any deeper.
All right.
Oh yes, the whole lampshading about the train being pulled by ponies.
Yep. And that is someone kind of called it in the comments. That is a little bit based off of the sequence in Fallout Equestria, where Little Pip's like, but so where does the coal come from? By a train, of course. I need to stop thinking about trains. They hurt my brain.
But they come by train. But trains run by coal. Nah. Though I think in that comment section we ended up going over and kind of going into how that would actually logically make sense. I think.
Yeah, it's people trying to make that work.
It was kind of successful, I think. Maybe.
Kind of.
It didn't hurt my brain, so that's already a plus.
Yeah, I wasn't tasting copper, so I guess that's not too bad. Why and how? Jeez.
All right. Since we're coming up on 2.5 hours of this, which has been kind of amazing so far, I'm thinking this is where we transition to the other part of... And this is kind of something I'm not entirely sure about, but I'm just going to forge ahead anyway, even though it could be kind of a bad idea.
You go, Spud. I believe in you.
Do it. Do it.
So I hope you've enjoyed just randomly browsing the comic for a while, because I'm going to change the view a bit. Because I've been
That's
over, I've
fine.
been
I
over
can't
almost,
really
I've been over almost the whole archive just by clicking and not even reading. What sites do you enjoy besides Friendship is Dragons? That's not really a question for me, but anyway, gonna switch to monitor view and prepare for recursion. Oh boy, okay. The frame rate's
and the
gonna
stream dies.
the frame rate's gonna tank at this, but hopefully it holds together. So ideally, in very slow frame rate, you should be seeing my monitor.
Oh, there's me. Hi, me.
Hi, you too.
And yeah, so basically my process starts, because here's the thing, this is one of those times where I'm going to just admit I've run out of buffer. I don't have a comic yet for Thursday, or the rest of it. I need to build it back up.
Gotcha.
But something messed up there. It's just waving it around, just kind of...
Wave your browser in the air.
Like you just don't care.
I kind of play Hearthstone, yeah. All right, so blah. So yeah, yeah, the wallpaper's nice. So do we want to make a comic right here, right now?
Sure. Let's see the magic.
Sure.
So it starts here in just this document I have of all the scripts of just dialogue. So the first program I use is just Word, or in this case, LibreOffice Writer.
Cool.
Yep. Oh, and I really need to get a second monitor because I've just got way too much stuff going on. That's not a Death Star, that's just the moon. Here, yeah, here's my desktop for all you YouTube scientists. I try and keep it as little cluttered as possible. So let's get the chat back up. So let's see. So this is the comic where basically they explain how did Twilight win. So it's mainly going to be exposition. I already have an idea of the punchline, and I'm not used to talking through this. This is the first time I've really shared this process with anyone. So this is special, guys. Treasure this.
Okay, taking notes.
I will frame it on
I
my
was going to
wall.
ask you about this in an email, so
Yeah, here we go. Here's the process for everyone who's been wondering for years and years. This is the magic. All right. So, okay, it's kind of a stream of consciousness thing, so I kind of have to start from the beginning, but with an end in mind. So I'm probably going to stop talking for a little bit and just kind of think. Okay, so I also tend to pace around my room a lot during this phase, and so I'm kind of sitting next to the computer holding in that urge while I try and think of dialogue. A lot of the editing happens in my head before it happens. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's improve performance a bit so that OBS doesn't quite choke on this so much. Yeah, it seems to like that a little better. No pressure, you have 20 people watching your every move. Okay.
yep. Stare.
The problem is, how do we begin? It's like, it's basically going to be one of them going. So the first part is she kept all of her stamina in reserve. And here we see the elusive spot in its natural habitat, typing at on a word processor.
I think that's the natural habitat of most of us,
Yeah.
especially me lately.
It's so true.
Yes, indeed.
If we look carefully, you can see the nervous disposition and mental breakdown preparing, waiting for the right time to strike.
Oh, you don't. Mental Fortitude cast. I'm not sure what it does, but it's a random spell in my spell book.
Sure. So, spoilers for the third factor is that Pinky's outburst about the gala ticket made the other runners who might have also taken it carefully, like Twilight, kind of panic a little bit and run themselves ragged a little bit faster.
Ew, I didn't think of that.
There we go. We'll call that first draft. I don't know if you can read it at this resolution, because I'm taking my 1080p screen and squeezing it down to 720p, so it's like 50% reduction, but yeah, I'm basically making taking Twilight's horsing around line that went uncommented during the episode and just making them comment on it. It's like, come on. Beating us at our own game is one thing, Twi, but puns? Sorry.
The puns are the best part about D&D, or any RPG.
Oh yeah, but not everyone enjoys them equally.
No.
So here
Yeah,
we go.
that is true.
So now what we do is we actually go to the episode, and we start looking for the screen caps that, since I'm doing this all in one shot, I already have them kind of in my mind, the ones I want. So, let's see. So we start from here. We gotta do... Let's see. So we start with the script. Okay, there we go. So we start with Rainbow Dash. But you ran so slow. Her eye here kind of squeezing in is very good, so we'll take this one, press Alt-I. Allows me to just save the screen grab. I've already got a whole folder of screen caps to work with, so we'll call that rd_slow_1.jpg. And if I use more from the sequence, I'll just do 2, then 3, or if I do a different subject, etc. And that's how I do my file formats when I'm grabbing screen caps.
Aha.
That would have. I really should have done it that way.
Yeah, welcome to 4 years of refining this process.
Jeez.
There's a look.
I just went to. Yeah, I just went to like Google image or the wiki or something to find my cats. No wonder it took me days.
Well, these are also very high size, very large sized files. I mean, these are like full 1080p color corrected. If you Google yay ponies, you can find these rips just fine as well. So. And I'm using the software I'm using is Windows Media Player Classic, which is just a great video program by itself and makes screen capping really easy. Better than even VLC, because VLC, I don't remember what my issue was, but I think it was that it wouldn't remember where I wanted to save it. So why didn't Artie just fly over the track and take shortcuts? Because of the rope around her wings. Time for some totally legal streaming of the episode. Yeah. How did you get these files illegally?
Through a friend, honestly.
Yeah.
Come on now.
No, this is my iTunes copy, I swear.
This session is for
I swear,
educational
it's
purposes.
Yes, we better add that in there.
Yeah.
You know how YouTube is with its copyright infringement.
I can cut this part out of the YouTube version if necessary, and just kind of play sad music as I explain. Nope, couldn't include that part. Okay, so we need for the next panel, we need just kind of Twilight being smug, and a few more of those anyway. Oh, come on. That's one of the horsing ones. I also find it important to make sure that between the different sort of mouth frames that they cycle through, it's always a different one that I pick if I'm taking ones from the same scene. Nope. Sorry, I already have one. Let's do 2. Let's see. So we need actually a lot of screen caps for this because there's going to be a bunch of mini panels as well for Rarity, Fluttershy, and Pinkie Pie.
Right.
Actually, this will do just fine for the final panel. This is actually not going to be a standard 6-panel page, is the thing. So let's see, we need to go back a bit. No, wait, I don't want a mini panel. I want something with Rarity and Fluttershy together. So, do I guess I look around then? Where's something with Rarity and Fluttershy in the same shot? Here's where the challenge is. Here's where the screen capping gets real.
Oh boy.
Let's see. This is always pretty ripe for just Rarity and anybody. Which I don't want to overuse, because I might actually make this a sub-arc of the Ticketmaster. But I don't think I'm going to find what I need. Oh, no? Oh, that, okay. That might work.
raise your hand if you have Art of the Dress playing in your head right now.
It's been forever since I've actually listened to that song. Gosh dang it, that means I have to watch it, season 1 again.
That might work. Yes. There are some silly ones. There are some silly screen caps when you're just going frame by frame.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Well, animators have to have fun in between the frames that nobody can see it with the naked eye.
Yeah, I also get front row seat to all the little errors that come from tweening and switching objects between motions. Not that I really care. Oh, okay. So we do that one for that, just as the breakaway. And then we double back. Nope, too far. We go. We need the panel where all the other players are. There we go. Yeah, that'll do. We need some Pinkie Pie, and I think I've got the rest of them. So, we need... No, that's... There we go. Ah, the shenanigans screen cap. Let's see. Mine is hooray, I help. Yep, okay. I like that. And
No one cares about Spike.
well, Spike is a DM NPC. Yeah, people care even less. Okay.
The problem is
So, then I use a program called Comic Life, and here's where the actual most of the magic is. This is and then there's a bunch of K-drama screenshots because my mom sometimes uses this computer to do her blogging. But anyway,
cool.
So this is basically Comic Life, a little-known piece of paid-for software, and this is a very specific version of. Well, it's not the latest one. The latest one's kind of garbage, but this is basically a thing that does one thing and one thing particularly well, and that's to use images to put into panels and then put word balloons on top of them. That is 100%. I'm actually not thinking about this paneling. I need to look at my script again.
Yeah, I used this program before. It's really nice.
It is very, very good if you do not want to fiddle around with making something precise in Photoshop.
Es muy bueno.
Yes. So, yeah, basically my my research before like launching the comic was basically to find the thing that would make the arting easier, and I found this, and that's basically the reason I've been able to do this for so long, is that I have good software for it. Comic Life is magical. So yeah, I'm just dragging
Comic Life
around,
is
making panels. We do about 3 thin ones on the top. And yeah, you can place them, but then you can adjust them, which is like if you were doing it in Photoshop, if you didn't get it right the first time, or GIMP or something, more often than not, you'd have to just start over again. You'd have to remake the shape.
Yep.
And then,
I can attest to that.
yeah, that's the experience that most people have. And putting an image into that panel is also super easy, because you can just do this. And then you can even resize it and adjust it.
Ooh.
And this is basically me showing off a piece of software that has a very specific use, but actually I better compare. Oh, okay. One thing that's hard is that there's very little in the way of automatically managing your margins, so you kind of have to keep track of that manually. You can save, templates as well, but I don't like the standard ones they have. They just don't match my needs, and I like to keep every page at least a little bit different, not exactly the same paneling. Anyway, even if it's just a little bit of resizing. And then this one will be
Yeah.
a horse. Okay. Let's see, let's maybe just widen that out a bit. Yeah. I used to do this all on my laptop too. I was doing this with a trackpad before I moved the operation over to my desktop.
Wow.
So when you do this on your own, how long does it generally take you? It depends, but the average, as I said before, is an hour. So the reason why Rarity and Flesh Iron dressmaking mode? Not particularly. I just kind of needed a screen cap where they were together, and didn't think I was going to find... I didn't want to spend too long hunting for one that was in an outdoors location. And I've already had a couple of their screen caps in other places.
Yeah. I think one of the previous comics had Rarity with those glasses anyway, so it fits.
Yeah. They're kind of... It's kind of the thing that they're not really part of the action. They're just kind of barely there anyway, so...
This is out of character.
Yeah.
At the table instead of actually in the game.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. So... I group my screen cap folders into groups of 5 or 6 pages worth, so sometimes it's like, okay, now where are the ones I was actually looking for? There we go. There's Rainbow Dash being adorably like, how? Why? It helps that the art is just kind of pretty to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is... Alright, now you start to see where it's coming together. Oh, I need one more. I forgot one of the screen caps I need, so I just go back in. I need a shot of Twilight kind of just lagging behind and enjoying herself. There was a specific shot I have in mind. And here's all the shenanigans we've been covering up to this point.
Yeah, shenanigans.
No, wait, the shot I'm thinking of is in a different episode, but it doesn't have the fall colors. That would explain it. I've been looking for that particular screen cap for a long time, but it's actually in freaking Swarm of the Century when she's walking through town, and there she's flanked on either side by these trees. Well, that's not part of this episode. I was confused for a little while. Okay, so what we want then is the next closest thing, maybe? No, it's the one before the sign. There we go. That's the one we want. Okay.
Yeah.
Enjoying nature. And that's again, that's where I realize I need to go back and now I just refresh the window in Comic Life, and now we resize to get Rainbow out of that frame. Maybe a little more.
Whoa.
That's why I have these really high res rips so that I can just resize them without losing too much quality. Because I've had problems with that. Although back when I was doing this on the laptop, the way I had it kind of set up, it would sometimes make the pictures blurry anyway. So that was kind of annoying. And then I'd have to resize it, re-export it, whatever. It'd look fine. But now on this computer where I could basically say Alt equals, okay, you are now at the actual size of what the page will be now. Anyway, so to others, so we do that. And we'll need a secondary panel for Pinkie Pie's line. And I bet it already preset for the overlay shadow thing. That megaphone's still kind of in frame. Let's see if we can... or maybe... well... yeah. That kind of works. Up a bit. That might end up a little interesting with the speech bubbles, but... okay, so... are you guys bored yet?
No.
No, that
This has been interesting.
Okay, then we do the other horsing panel. Go for a bit more on the right this time. Speech bubble will be on the left. And then the three of them kind of zoomed out. That'll be a little interesting as well, because the speakers are kind of in opposite order from the frame of the panel. But all right, so that's the initial paneling stage, and then I just start going to the document, and I can kind of do a thing where I copy and paste. Although with LibreOffice, this wasn't the case when I was using Word, but with LibreOffice, it kind of keeps the line breaks and the alignment, so I have to kind of fiddle with that as well. So it's not a perfect system, but
No.
so. And with the speech bubbles, it's really easy to resize them, reorient the text. Yeah, this is basically 100% the reason why I paid $30 for this piece of software.
nice.
To be able to make speech bubbles with zero hassle. The end. I paid $30 for that.
Oh, yes.
You could just reverse the images.
I agree with you on that.
I try to avoid reversing images, actually. It's kind of part of my rule of just sticking to screen caps and not applying much in the way of Photoshop. I try not to reverse panels as well. Because often that if you do decide to reverse things, it can kind of make things not make sense in weird ways. Especially when it comes to how the environment works. Like the show, the staging is set up in a certain way, and I don't want to mess around with that too much. Sometimes I'll do it on like a mini frame like this. I can flip it around a little bit. But generally, I like to keep it as a general rule. Like, I will work around it. feel like the panel 6 thing would be funnier if a beat of her just standing in the same pose to silence after the pun. Yeah, the penultimate or ultimate beat panel is really tempting, but I've noticed that I like it as well, so I try to kind of avoid using that as a crutch. People tend not to be silent for too long when they're actually speaking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but B panels are really good. It's just that they're better when you use them tactically, sparingly. But yeah, it would be a good pose if it was just like, you know, just that and then just like crickets, whatever. But whatever. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Please let me undo all of that crap. There we go. So, yes, intuitive speech bubbling. And yeah, if you're having troubles with the stream and whatnot, it will be coming back. Still no dropped frames, so. Want to Skype, maybe? Sure, drop me a message on Skype. I'll bring you into this call. I won't even kick anyone out. Just, you can join in. Then for this one.
Oh, shoot. Inception. Ah. Sorry, my stream finally kicked in, and that just hurts my eyes. Oof.
Oh, I don't. Do I have dialogue boxes for Twilight's colors? Uh-oh. Not on this style sheet. I wanted to... Crap, I need to compare it against previous ones and... Mykin. Crap, I need to actually hunt down a comic with that scheme. Yeah, when I just change over computers, so I did I wasn't able to completely preserve some of the style sheet stuff, including speech bubble styles. So there was a case where I know where to end this. I know where to pick this up. I go to Lunar Eclipse, go to No, wait. Oh no, that doesn't have Twilights in it. Think. I think I know. Nah, that would take way too long. 240. This is why it's nice to have you guys around.
Kind of say.
There we go. Oh, this is the one where it's the darker purple on the inside, but I can correct for that pretty quick. Okay. So with that to compare to, frame, I think we can do the dark purple and then... no. No, that's rarities. That's pink one. Do I have this color saved in here as well? Okay, well... It's also kind of a thicker one as well. My balloon style has gotten a bit thinner as well as far as the frame goes. That's kind of rare. The lavender is kind of rarity. There's got to be a light purple that I was using before. 240 is a bit too early. Is there a later one? Preferably in one of the more recent arcs. Oh, did you consider putting alt text in the comments, like XKCD and whatnot? I have. In fact, the past two or 3 that landed on a Christmas time, I think, have alt text on them, where I kind of then proposed the idea of having alt text on the comments and on the comics, and then came to the conclusion that no, that'd be kind of a bad idea. I've already got a secondary content flow, and that's the storytime stuff. No, I don't, Hatter. I don't talk like this normally. I'm pretty much doing this entirely for your benefit. I read out the lines to myself sometimes, but for the most part, I keep this mainly to myself.
Yeah, he's not like me where I talk to myself randomly for who knows what reason.
I do that too.
The problem is I try to make sure that if I have the sub panels going. Oh, here we are. There we go. That's the one I wanted. So let's see. We got the dark purple. It's not. So let's start. Now we do the plum on that. I guess we just try to lighten that up a bit. Yeah. Kind of a pinkish.
Hey.
Whoops.
Yep.
Getting to save custom colors is kind of a pain, though.
Probably be worth it in the end in case you have to move again or move everything over to a different computer again.
Yeah. That looks a little lighter, but close enough, almost. It's that purple with pink highlights thing I'm going for. But I don't want to be a little bit too hard to read. All right. Duck method is a good problem solver for this. Explain it to a plastic duck? Sure, why not? That explains why that explains my dad working in IT. And his name being Grey Duck.
I was going to say, I can't get the mental image out of you just having a duck sitting next to your computer and you're talking to it.
I don't have a duck. I've got... In a shelf nearby, I have a Rainbow Dash plushie about 10 inches tall.
Yeah.
And Feathermate is somewhere back there.
Trixie.
I don't have a whole lot of pony merch as a thing.
I used to not have money, so I don't really have all that much here.
So let's save as D&D.
I have a daughter. I never have money.
I'll get married eventually.
Okay, so now we can actually continue. Apparently this is someone. Let's get you as a contact, so we can get you in on the call that I'm hosting, instead of you calling me.
Don't worry about it, Dally. Don't worry about it.
Okay, copy, paste. All right, now we're getting back
I
into the
said
flow
don't
of
worry about
things.
it.
Not the extension one. Actually, I just thought of an extension to that line. what we do here is I want this to be kind of a tiny, quiet Fluttershy line. So we do a little bit of work around like that. And no one's really paying attention. That's fine. At least not commenting on it in the chat. All
No.
right.
They're all mesmerized.
I'm still taking notes.
Yep.
And now I know I need to spend $30 in order to do stuff.
Well, to do a very specific thing, and I mean super specific.
Yes, and it's a specific thing. I don't feel like putting too much hard work and effort into it if I can avoid it. Because I've tried making all this stuff in GIMP before, and after like 3 days of trying to get it all to work, I felt like stabbing myself, so this is much better for my sanity.
Yeah. I wouldn't want you to spend $30 just to make a guest comic, though. I've been trying to be a little more strict on guest comic quality, and I'm going to be probably doing another IDW comic conversion thing after the end of this arc as well to pad out a break.
Yay.
Yeah. Woohoo! I don't know. Dolly, no. Spud said no.
Hmm?
Don't worry about it. I said nothing.
Oh yeah, friendship is... Zarhan has finally mentioned Friendship is Betrayal, another screencap comic that tried to redefine things in a very unpleasant way, where everything is some kind of Death Note-esque conspiracy, and Celestia is a tyrant that Twilight is facing off against, and every one of the main six has an agenda, and it was awful, and it's dead now. I kind of respected its presence while it was alive, but... Oy.
Is there any competition anymore? I'm not necessarily sure. All the other like screenshot pony comics I keep seeing are dead.
Spud has destroyed them.
And now, is that, Hello. Get your mic in order. Hey.
Hello.
Yes.
Hey.
The reason why I didn't... Yes.
Sorry, you made a very poor career choice.
So yeah, I didn't accept your call because I needed to add you to this group call, which is what I've been doing for the whole stream. But yes, welcome to the call in the twilight hours of the stream.
Would have been here earlier, but Ant-Man was calling.
Ah, well, that's... Hey, I'm not going to argue with that. Alright, we're getting close to the end of making this thing. Basically just making the next comic for you guys because I'm out of buffer and I thought it might be cool for you guys. Oops, I misclicked there. Alright.
I think I'm just going to mute the stream so that I don't get like a...
Yeah, that's what you should do. That's absolutely what you should do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
There's a bit of buzzing coming from you. Ground loop, maybe?
Maybe.
Definitely, yeah. But yeah, after this I'll build up the buffer a bit, but I, intentionally left it, empty so you guys could watch this in action, because I know people have been wanting for a while.
Yep.
Gotta get the precise number of G's in UG. That's very important.
There's a formula?
I don't know. It's just kind of play it by ear.
Yeah. Usually
Sometimes when you do these long onomatopoeias, it's like sometimes there's too much. Sometimes it's you want to have just enough.
Yep.
And the ordering on this is going to be a little interesting because it's basically in reverse order, but I think this will basically work because of the verticality.
Yeah. Left to right, up
Gold,
to down.
I won. So like, nope, gold, I won.
Oh yeah, that buzzing is getting ridiculous now.
This
Yeah.
mic needs. I need a new mic.
Yeah, you do. Or maybe there's a ground loop in your computer power setup somewhere. And there's some background noise?
So,
Bells.
Well, I mean,
that was one of my cats.
Oh,
More
dang it,
elevated.
chat. Dolly.
I got
Sorry.
I got Chrono Zephyr's reference. I'm not going to say what it is, but I got it. Just want that to be known. The headlight fluid one. That's a pretty one of the most famous ones of those.
Ah, yes.
I've got spurs that jingle, 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 says Dally.
Ah! Stop. I don't need that song stuck in my head for the 4th time in a row.
Alright, and we're just about at the last line. So, with that,
I'm secretly a what? Chrono
Because
Zephyr
you-
says
secretly Khajiit.
Cat people.
Khajiit.
I don't get it.
Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion.
Khajiit has wares if you have the coin.
Well, if it's not a monster I've included in the elements of friendship fan fiction, I don't know what it is.
Oh, right. You're that guy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And over a quarter of a million words, first book in the series.
That's pretty common for long fan fictions. I've noticed actually. They tend to beat all the old metrics. All right, and I think that's the comic. So I save. Now we export.
Exporting is a pain in the butt.
Not really.
It was for me. But that's mostly because I'd export and then realize there was a bug in it and then have to go back in. And
Oh yeah, this is where I go back and take a look at it immediately. Be like, okay, does that look right? That look right? Especially back in when I was on the laptop and some of the pictures would end up blurry for some reason, so I'd have to go back in and.
yeah, I had that issue a lot.
But nope, we're all good. So
Yay.
now it's time to go in. Whoa, yeah, that sorry, Emrys, that noise is getting kind of ridiculous, and I can barely make out whatever you're trying to say.
I'm mouth words failing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, do you mind if I kind of drop you from the call, because it's getting a little obnoxious?
There it is.
Alright. Whew. Yeah, sorry about that. Doesn't work with everybody.
Yeah. We tried.
Yeah, I almost showed you
Yeah.
password and login. I know. I'll be changing those as soon as this is over anyway. So anyway, now this transcript as I've written it, without any panel description or any of that is really useful because then I just copy and paste that into the searchable transcript when I'm submitting the comic to the site. Put the image there. This needs a title. Probably the hardest part of the whole process is just now we need to come up with the title and the author's comment.
Ha ha
Now, the
ha.
author's comment's probably pretty easy at this point.
Yeah. and tell us a story about how you used a pun to win the day. No. Oh, don't do that.
And
Please don't do that.
Not every one needs a story time. All right, so I think
I know.
and I think, and I can edit this later as well to add anything additionally. Now I just need the title. Marathon Mare.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. Let me check to make sure that those words aren't being used already. No? No, not in that particular order. Yeah, that works out just fine. Yep, doesn't have to be anything super clever. Just something slightly new. Marathon.
High horse. Marathon.
Marathon mare. That might be a little much, just, well, nah, that's just enough, I think. Yeah, and a little bit extra silly for the sake of the stream is just fine. So we set this for not today, but the 30th at 6 a.m.
Woot.
So, update. And a little bit inflated because I was walking you guys through it. That is how you make a comic for Friendship as Dragons.
Woohoo.
From pretty much start to finish.
That was beautiful magic.
That was something.
That was pretty awesome. all things
627.
considered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I've streamlined the process a bit, and it helps, you know, to have a lot of it in my head when I'm doing it. So yeah. How long has it been? OBS, tell me, as we look into the abyss. It has been over 3 hours.
3 hours and
17 minutes.
18.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think at this point, that's basically kind of everything I wanted to do for this. Just hang out with all of you guys, reminisce about the 4 years that we've been doing this, and actually get done what I wanted to get done. The big thing, which was show off just making a comic for everyone who wanted to see it. So I think, since it's been over 3 hours, and you've all been very supportive and patient, some of you have had to leave and whatnot. Sure, Amherst, go link to your fanfic thing. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I think that's where we will call it a night.
All right.
Thank you for an excellent 4 years, everybody.
It has been a
Thank you for letting
pleasure.
us-
And just end on my desktop. That's where we'll do it.
Yeah. Thanks for the ride.
Thank you
It's been
guys
fun.
very much.